Morning at NTV.
Hello, a very warm welcome once again, and we're glad you're still with us here on Morning at NTV. Now, let's go on ground to our man, Stephen Mbide, who is standing by in Kamocha and talking to a group of students who are undertaking what is being described as DELF, D-E-L-F, or F rather, a course that is primed as one that can condition how you go ahead in career progression when you learn an extra language away from English and any other language that you have been instructed in here in Uganda. Let's first go to our man on the ground, Stephen Mbide. A very good morning, Stephen. All right, we do have a little bit of glitches there. We shall be going to Stephen Mbide a little bit later when the vagaries of technology are rectified. Let me return to studio for now and do a tech note where dynamics in mass national ID registration for children is the latest program that is being rolled out by the national NIRA, I must say. Anyway, the National Identification Registration Authority has set the 10th of December for a mass registration of national IDs for children, an exercise that is intended to slim the hurdles of acquiring a national ID at the right age for one. Osborne Mushabe, the Public Relations and Corporate Affairs Manager at NIRA, joins us for more on this. A very warm welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir.
My apologies, we had a little bit of technical glitch there as we tried to get to our man on ground, but we shall be going to him a little bit later. Let's first thresh out the dynamics here when it comes to registration for children to get national IDs. First, what is the intention?
Thank you for hosting me.
You're welcome.
Glad to be here.
Yes.
One, we need to note that a registration for IDs has been ongoing, and as NIRA, we register all Ugandans, we register all citizens, including even if someone is just 1 day old, even if someone is just 1 year old. Only that we would like to be giving out this information regularly so that the public can be knowing of under which stage or via which levels someone can get a NIN, an ID, and so on. So when we register these children or our young citizens who are below the age of 16, they can only be assigned a national identification number. So it's only when they have attained the age of 16 that they are given a national ID. So this exercise is basically for registering our children, to give them national identification numbers, to put them in the register, to make sure that to make sure that we can be able to know the number of people we've registered, the number of people we have, but the children are not given physical national IDs. They are only given national identification numbers. What is a national identification number? A national identification number, what we call a NIN, is a unique number allocated to every citizen who has successfully gone through the process of registration. This citizen is given this unique number. Even if you check your ID, if you're a man, you find something like CM and then the year of birth and the other digits. If you are a female, you'll find CF, indicating citizen female. So when we give out these NINs to these children, they are in our register. When they attain the age of 16, we are able to make to do what we call an update, and then they are able to get national IDs. So it should be clear that children are only being registered for national IDs, but can only get physical national IDs when they have attained the age of 16. For now, they are only given NINs. Why do we prioritize giving out NINs? Why should we give them NINs? We give them NINs, these national identification numbers. Of course, when a child or any citizen is being registered, we need to note that you provide, the parents will provide the details of the parents, the lineage, then the names of the child, dates of birth, and so on. So when you have this NIN and you put it into the system, it will bring out all those details. When this, in case you are trying to register this child, maybe with this NIN, the child can be able to access education. You've seen your neighbor asking for NINs. You've seen your neighbor asking for such numbers. In case this child grows up and you would want to have a driving permit, even now, for you to get a birth certificate, you will need a NIN, because it's a unique number. If I put in your NIN, I will be able to get your details. So this NIN is a unique number. So we're registering them to give them NINs that will enable them to get birth certificates, that will enable them to be in the identification register for the country, the NINs that will enable these students to even access health services, to even get passports in case some of them are being taken abroad. These NINs will help us even to combat child trafficking. They even help us to identify the age as we move on, because it's only when you've registered your birth that we can be able to ascertain that this person is 10 years old or 8 years old, and so on. So basically for this event, we are, basically with this program, we are trying to amplify our voice, to amplify our campaign, to register children for national IDs, but the first step is they are only given national identification numbers, or what we call NINs. It's after when they have clocked or when they have attained the age of 16 that they will be able to be given national IDs.
ID card.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
interesting. Now, when you talk about children and the advantages that many might be able to enjoy because they have a NIN, most of the children that are in Uganda are not in the urban centers to be able to get to readily enjoy the advantages of a passport, the advantages of access to healthcare. I do not know how that has been factored in. How does the child in Butaleja, in the rural areas, benefit from having a NIN when a health center that is nearby doesn't actually require them to provide such information in order to access this particular service?
Away from the peri-urban population, we need to note that this service, of course, cuts across the country. If you are in, let's say, Kisoro, Koboko, Karamoja, I think those are the farthest areas away from Kampala, or even Butaleja, like you've said, Obusia. With this NIN, your child will be able to access education. Nowadays, it's a requirement. If you're in school, you'll find that for us to be, what we need to first note in the first place is a NIN is given to a citizen. Altogether. Who is a citizen? A citizen is a person whose parents or grandparents were living in this country by 1926 when our boundaries were demarcated. So by the fact that you've registered, you've successfully gone through the registration process with the NIRA, you've been assigned a NIN. That automatically qualifies you to be a citizen of this country. So if we are giving you a NIN and you're in school, let's say you are a candidate in Butaleja, maybe for your neighbor or whatever, it is prudent, it is easy for us, it is easy for the country to plan for you, it is easy for us to know that maybe, or to know that we have registered, let's say, 10 million births, or we have maybe registered 10 million citizens, or we have this number of people at this via this category. Then you as a child, this will help you in child trafficking. Child trafficking does not only happen in Kampala. It happens across the country. There are porous borders, there are porous communities, there are border communities. So even a child in Kabale, a child in Koboko who has been registered, we are able to track down and know that this person this child was maybe born on this day or in this year. So in case of this is how we can help them out. You've had cases that have been going on whereby someone has to prove the age. So a NIN will help that child in case of such anomalies. And we need to note that when you have this, however much we are in rural setups, actually I think that has been the debate ongoing, because I remember when registration started, when NIRA was being set up, before people would say, but me, I'm in the village, do I need a national ID? But of course with time, you will need a national ID, you will need a NIN. So it would be prudent for all of us to register our children, regardless of where we're in the peri-urban centers like Kampala, regardless, or even if we're in the villages, let's register our children, because there are very many avenues whereby we shall need these NINs. Even to access medical services, you will have to register, you will have to prove the identity of your child, moving forward. You will have to prove that this child maybe was born on this day. You will have to prove that this is a citizen, because that is through the NIN. We are now going through that process, so it would be good for us as a country to prioritize birth registration, to have our children being registered. And what you should note, okay, we have noted, on Sunday 10th, we have an event in Kampala. We are partnering with Vision Group. We are calling upon all parents in Kampala who can make it Sheraton to come and register their children. But we've been doing this throughout the country. We have been doing this countrywide. It's not this event is for Kampala, or this exercise is for Kampala. So even if you are in Mbari, even if you are in Karamoja, please visit the NIRA office. And what do we need? It's just simple. For you to register your child for birth registration, for your child just to get a NIN, we just need a photocopy of the parents' IDs, a photocopy of the parents' IDs, and at least someone coming with that child come with an original national ID. And after a few days, you'll be given a NIN. So
2 questions. The first one is, you've just spoken about the fact that for your child to get a birth certificates are supposed to be issued in hospitals, especially for those that have had the advantage of being born in a hospital. Now, it would require the NIN for another child who might not have been advantaged enough to be born in a hospital to get a birth certificate. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, we need to, let's make it clear. There's a difference between a birth notification record and a birth certificate.
Birth notification record.
NIRA derives its mandate from the Registration of Persons Act, an act established by Parliament of Uganda in 2015. So, since from the time the act was enacted, if you check through section 28 that talks about birth registration, we need to note that that mandate was given to NIRA, even under section 5. That mandate for birth certification, registration of birth was given to NIRA. What you only get from health facilities when your child is born, it's what we call a birth notification record, to prove that Higenyi or Patrick has been born in, let's say, Murago Hospital or Mbarara General Referral Hospital. These are the parents, these are the names of the parents. The child was born on this day. So after that, you proceed to NIRA for registration. After getting a NIN, you are able to process a birth certificate. What we should also note is, for birth registration, for you to get a NIN, it's free. You do not even incur any cost. But for you to get a birth certificate, you pay 5,000 shillings, but of course you have to pay in the bank. So with what you get from the hospital is a birth notification record. Even the other child who may not have been able to get an advantage of being born in a health facility or in a hospital, his or her parents can also avail this information through the village health team, through the sub-counties, through the town councils, and NIRA will be able to allocate you a NIN and later a birth certificate. So what we got from hospitals or health facilities nowadays, it's what we call a birth notification record. Birth certificates are being issued by the National Identification and Registration Authority. Now,
let's talk about the value for money and priority areas. NIRA is already encumbered when it comes to the registration of older citizens, the ones that are required to actually carry along the national ID card. That process itself has been a little bit inconsistent, to the extent that for those who either lose or misplace their ID cards, despite the fact that there's already a NIN that is registered with you, it becomes difficult for them to get the card again. That is related to the fact that the financial cost of this particular exercise, even before the other aspects of issuance of cards has been finalized. Aren't we stampeding ourselves when it comes to getting to register citizens? Shouldn't we rectify one aspect of those who are already eligible in terms of age to get the ID cards, and then ensure that is clean, and then we go on to the registration of children?
Of course, you are Of course, with the register, you cannot say that I'm going to first register this category, then I will come for the other one. And of course, I know you've been in the media. The media plays a very big role in transformation of our country.
That's right.
I know you've been following up all these stories. You've seen people trying to alter, people trying to change their age details and so on. So it's also good to track from down there, from even age 1, from 0 to 9 months. So that by the time even you clock 20 or 30, we already have your track record. We already have we are able to track and say Higenyi or maybe Helen or Patrick Kamara was born on this day, and he has not changed anything to have that register. What we need to note that, like you've brought in the issue of replacement. For replacements, it takes a niche of time for you to replace your national ID. Because what we basically need from you basically is a NIN. Okay, maybe let me use this opportunity to clarify, because there are very many people who have been having concerns, people who lose IDs and just remain aloof without information, without trying even to replace their national IDs. When you lose your national ID as a citizen, let's use this opportunity to reach out to you. Please, if you lose your national ID, or in case it is destroyed, please do not sit back. Do not just remain aloof. Just what you need to do, just report to police that I've lost my national ID, get a police letter. After that, pay 50,000 in the bank, get to NIRA within a fortnight or at least a month. You will be able to replace your national ID. Then for our older citizens, of course, we still have citizens who have not registered. We still have citizens who have not registered. Now, for you, the window is still open. It's not we've closed. We register citizens every day. For you, what you have to do, if you've never registered, my dear fellow citizens, just get to NIRA, pick a form, get stamps and signatures appended by the chairperson's LC1. That is if you are an adult. After that, you get stamps and signatures appended by the GISO. And DISO, that is the internal security officer. And of course, we work with them. And then after that, you'll be able to come back to NIRA with photocopies of your parents' IDs in case they are deceased or you are unable to trace them. You can be able to give us the photocopies of the IDs for the guardian. We shall be able to register you, and then you'll be able to get your national ID. So we cannot say that we are going to concentrate on this category and leave the children, because the sustainability of a forest depends on its saplings. So the children, the younger generation, this is the foundation of our country. We cannot leave them behind. That's why we are that's why we are amplifying the voice to make sure to reach out to them.
Okay. Osborne Mushabe, Public Relations and Corporate Affairs Manager at NIRA, many thanks for the perspective. I should warn that NIRA is now effectively going to destabilize a generation of women who may not be comfortable in 20 years' time revealing their age if it can be tracked. Interesting there. Let's go for a break. We'll be back with the rest of the discussion.